Hello everybody, welcome back to the Barista Witch channel. It is me, your girl Misha, your Barista Witch, and today we are getting into our transits for May 2026. How is it already May? First and foremost, cheers to you. Oh, what's this? Oh, just a little merch or whatever, maybe on my website. And I'm reading little snippets from my Cosmic Tea Guide for May 2026. And this is a guide that I put out every single month, and it goes through all of the transits. You can see here, these are the transits that we have affecting us this month. And I thought we could highlight some important ones. Okay, so Mimi has decided to join us. Very good, baby. So Mars being Swarashi in Aries from May 11th to June 20th. Swarashi is when a graha, a planet, is in its own sign. So it's basically like this graha is at home. You are most comfortable in your home. You know where all your stuff is. You're having a great time. The most comforting place where you can, what my late teacher Lisa Rotel would say when we were in a really difficult pose, to alkaline the components within yourself. So Aries, it's the first sign of the natural zodiac. It's a fire sign, and it represents the beginning, the start of a new cycle. And the symbol Mars, which I really want to get into like the pratima of Mars itself, it's represented by like a circle with an arrow jutting out of it. And in the Upanishads, this arrow signifies the direction of contemplation towards the supreme goal. It's basically a tool to move you toward what it is you want to accomplish. The supreme goal being enlightenment in this sense of the Upanishads, but the arrow traditionally is used as a weapon. It's a sign of aggression, it can protect you, it can attack you, but they're also used to access difficult targets, to reach newfound heights. There's effort that's applied to pull back an arrow, so there's this implication of strength. There's a daring nature to even shoot an arrow at something. You have to be quite daring. You have to be quite confident to know that you're going to hit your target. You have to be pretty intelligent and precise to also hit said target. So because of this, Mars imparts great ambition. And Mars imparts a desire to roam, to experience new ways of life. And this can create a mindset of not being easily satisfied. So depending on where this is, so for example, if you are rising Cancer, this will be taking place in your 10th house of career. It can give you the drive, the motivation, the desire to really seek your goals, to reach new heights in your career, to be a bit more daring in your career. But just know, Mars is also self-reliant, self-sufficient, the god of war. So this can indicate, depending on what else is happening in your chart, 'cause this is all dependent upon what's happening in your chart. Intense aggression, intense violence, more conflict. Tuesdays are ruled by Mars. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, and we wear red to honor Mars. So notice on Tuesdays, particularly during this transit, if you notice that tensions are a bit heightened, emotions are more intense or heightened, try to avoid conflict. And I like to think of Vedic astrology as checking the weather report. You know that in London, it rains a lot. So you know that 9 times out of 10, you should have your umbrella, your rain boots, your rain jacket to prepare yourself for the elements. I like to look at the current transit in respect to me and my chart to know, do I need my metaphoric umbrella today? But ultimately, Mars is a graha energy of courage, of aggression, strength, ambition, and it governs how we as people, how we assert ourselves in the world, how we deal with challenges, how we pursue our goals. And this transit is a really good time if you really use this Martian energy to really challenge yourself to go after your goals. Let's look at the nakshatras involved. So one zodiac sign, one constellation, one Rashi is 30 degrees. One nakshatra is 13 degrees and 20 minutes. So if we divide that up, that means one zodiac sign encompasses 2 and some change of nakshatras. So Aries houses a nakshatra called Ashwini, Bharani, and Krittika. So Ashwini, my teacher calls this the star of movement and invincibility. Hi baby, hi baby. Oh. Look at her little head. Hi, you hanging out with mommy? She's just a little witch. The deities associated with Ashwini are the Ashwini Kumaras, and these are two men on horseback. They are known to be the divine physicians. So some of the symbolism associated with Ashwini is the ebb and flow of prana. In the Indian mythology of the Ashwini Kumaras, they were created from their parents' breath mingling together. So there's this idea of breathing deeply, and we get a lot of athletes associated with having this placement. In my class, we studied Serena Williams as having this placement, and she with the tennis players need to breathe for long periods of time deeply and keep the evenness of breath as they're running back and forth across the tennis court. There's also this association with destination and movement and speed, because the pratima for this, the symbolism, is a horse's head. So we think of racing and moving forward really quickly, journeying, maybe taking some trips. If this is going to be potentially, depending on your chart, affecting your work, maybe you start taking some trips for work. If this is taking place in like your 7th house of relationships, maybe you're going on a trip with your loved one, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, your they, them, whatever. This could maybe even getting into a nice fitness routine, since the Ashwini Kumaras are the divine physicians and it's all about health and wellness. Maybe you pick up running. Maybe you pick up some sort of movement for your body and getting your body strong and healthy. Who knew? Going to sleep early, waking up early, drinking water, and exercising will lead to a happier and healthier state of you. So the next nakshatra within Aries is Bharani, and my teacher calls this the star of confinement. The pratima for this is the womb or the vulva or the yoni. So think of how contained things have to be in the womb. You are protected while in the womb. You are nurtured while in the womb. You can grow while in the womb. There's this symbolism of transformation. You know, you go from being in the womb to out of the womb, which is, yes. The deity associated with Bharani is Yama, the Lord of Death. What is more transformative than going from life to death? And how interesting that the pratima is the womb and then the deity is the Lord of Death. I love the nakshatras so much. And also all of the transit dates for when Mars is passing through these specific nakshatras are again in my cosmic tea guide. Link is in the bio if you want to get it. And also if you book a reading with me, if you want to know how these transits affect you, you are grandfathered in to receiving my monthly cosmic tea guide every single month. But you should book readings with me. So since the symbol is the yoni, the womb, this is also Bharani associated with the pleasure principle. This is music and the love of entertainment, food, drink, sensual bedroom pleasures, getting a little naughty with someone. Depending on how it's manifested in your chart, these can be conducted in a healthy way or in an unhealthy way. It is up to you to monitor that. Since Mars is this aggressive planet moving through these placements, it comes with some fire behind it. So try to be a bit more moderate if you find yourself suddenly locked into the pleasure principle during this time. There's also a period of sequestering and being withdrawn, because again, being in the womb, you are closed off from everything, and it's a time of growth, reflection, purification. So you can use this to really maybe even develop like a meditation practice to organize your life, to really purify your life. Maybe you utilize it in the way of not going out every single weekend, and you instead stay home, and instead of engaging in the pleasure principle, you do the opposite. You turn inward and you really reflect on those areas of your life that maybe need a little fine tuning. And this also calls for privacy, especially in this age of social media where everyone wants to share everything about themselves on the internet. No, don't do that. Bharani is also associated with willpower and having discipline. So having a bit of tenacity to pursue your goals against all odds. This is having the mindset of, I don't care about these perceived limitations. I'm going to do it anyway. And with Mars there, that principle of, the symbol of an arrow piercing through a circle, reaching out for new heights, this is a really good time for you to try to pursue new goals and really get into discipline. Notice areas of your life that perhaps need a bit more discipline. Tap into this power and use the energy of Mars in Bharani Nakshatra to get some discipline in your life. And there's also an association, and it's because of something that's in the mythology, but with hair. So think beard, hair, nails, eyebrows, like mustache. So this is also a time where you may see yourself wanting to get a little bit more in tune with your own personal maintenance with your hair. So it could involve maybe you getting a haircut or dyeing your hair or growing it out, whatever it is. But if you feel inclined to do a little makeover, do so. And Bharani is all about artistry, inventing, trailblazing. So think about a womb. You're creating life. So creativity is huge, 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 huge for Bharani, especially when Mars is specifically at 20 degrees of Aries. And then lastly, the last nakshatra of Aries that spills over into Taurus is called Krittika. And my teacher calls this the star of transformation. The devata, or the deity associated with Krittika, is Agni, fire. This is a huge Vedic deity. Just Google Agni and see all of the stories and the lore associated with this deity. I could do an entire, like, genuinely dissertation just on this fire principle. And this could be a good time for you to connect to fire in some way. You can do fire meditations, get a candle, you can stare at it, you can add candles to your rituals of meditation practice, or just even lighting a candle while writing, while cleaning, while doing something, but trying to incorporate fire or Agni, or even just cooking more at home. There's something so nurturing and healing about preparing your own meals and using fire. So not microwaving things, oven, sure, but like putting a pan or a pot over a flame and cooking with fire. It can be a huge upaya during this time, depending on what else is going on in your chart. And the pratima for Krittika is a sharp blade of some sort. And this can be someone who is very, very cutting. So Mars during this period of Krittika, with its deity being Agni, fire, and its pratima being a sharp cutting object, and Mars being a god of war. Do you see where I'm kind of going with this? It is very important to be so mindful of your actions, since Mars is a graha of actions, and to be please so super mindful of your words. Notice if your words are cutting. Notice if your actions are cutting. And I'm saying this as a reminder to myself as well, because a bitch can be cutting with her words when provoked. Since fire consumes all, one of the primary principles of Krittika Nakshatra is appetite, digestion, consuming your basic drives. So again, that principle of eating, nourish yourself in healthy ways during this time. Honor your body, honor this transit by doing things that you know nourish you. Notice if you're doing things that really don't serve you, please don't. Just simply please don't. But this is being insatiable, hungry, greedy. So this can show up in the literal sense of eating, consuming things, and dependent upon where it is in your chart, it could be insatiable for work. If it's in your 10th house of career and action, if it's in your 7th house of relationships, it can be insatiable for relations with people. So be mindful that it doesn't consume you, because too much of one thing is never good. But when really utilized in a healthy way, you can use this to fuel your personal drive. My teacher has, these are people who are the creators and the doers, the movers and shakers, people of action. But notice if you have a mindset of getting it done by hook or crook, because you can be underhanded in trying to get what you want, or you can be really creative, mastermind, someone who is really good at creating something, but do it in a way that doesn't try to take from other people. Since this is a really consuming nakshatra, it is also this insatiability of never having enough. And Mars here definitely emphasizes that. So know when you have reached your limits. Set a limit for yourself, or else you might go off the rails. This is being very ambitious, having desire, pride, maybe even being a little friction generating, so causing conflict with people, being hot-headed, being really temperamental, being combative, argumentative, having a breakdown, bickering with people, arguing with people. It's too much heat in your body and your mind. And Mars being a fiery graha, in a fiery nakshatra, in a fiery rashi, it's a lot of heat. So maybe do things for you that help to pacify you. And notice too, not just how you operate in the world, but other people. Just because we are aware of what the cosmos are doing doesn't necessarily mean that others are always aware, and we have to live life with them and we have to play nice with them. So if you notice someone being, for lack of a better words, a dickhead, don't engage. Try to, as best as you can, just remove yourself from the conflict, from the drama, because 9 times out of 10, adding more fuel to an already out of control fire is usually not a good thing. So for the first part of this transit of Mars entering Aries, it will be UT with Mercury and the Sun. So our buddhi, which Mercury represents, will be affected by this, our intellect, and the Sun, which is our soul, our like who we are in this physical embodied time. If you utilize this well, reinventing your thought patterns, your speech patterns, because Mercury is also a graha of speech, and taking care of your body a bit more, you can really use this transit for your benefit. On the inverse, if you allow certain things to percolate without you taking care of them, it can dominate your speech and your mind and your body in an adverse way. And all of this is taking place in what's called a Kalasarva pattern, and it's when all of the grahas are on either side of the Rahu Ketu axis, and everything is intensified within this axis. So be very mindful this transit of your thoughts, your words, your speech. Notice where instances of heat come into your life. Notice where flames of desire and passion and consuming, notice how those come up, and consume good foods, good literature, good company with friends. Do things that actually nourish yourself, and you will make it through this transit. And this is a pretty long transit. It's from May 11th until June 20th. It's over a month. So we have a lot to work through. And this is also the end of the year for a lot of people. School season is ending, whether you're in university or if you're in actual school. So a lot of transformative times for people. So notice how you can use this energy of Mars being Swarashi and Aries to your benefit. And if you like this video and you found it helpful, please remember to subscribe to my channel. On my goal to getting 1,000 subs, share it with a friend, especially if you think that they might find it helpful. And of course, like, comment, do all the things. Drop a little flame emoji if you've made it to the end. Thank you so much, and I love you. Bye.